Alright, this video is on the Church of Latter-day Saints. You may know of the Church of Latter-day Saints more as Mormons than Latter-day Saints, but both of these names are interchangeable. They prefer to be called the Latter-day Saints than Mormons. The founder of the Church of Latter-day Saints is Joseph Smith, who is the greatest apostle. But the reason they're called Mormons is because Joseph Smith received the Book of Mormon. So even though they prefer to be called Church of Latter-day Saints, they usually are just named after the book which Joseph Smith basically recovered and gave to the church. The subtitle there for the Book of Mormon is Another Testament of Jesus Christ. That means for them, the Book of Mormon is another testament, meaning it completes the Bible. So the Bible here that I have is an Old and New Testament. This alone is not the complete Bible. Book of Mormon, another testament. Now I have a complete Bible. So without this, I don't have the full Bible, which is pretty interesting. So that's the Book of Mormon and the concept that the Church of Latter-day Saints has with what this offers to the church. I'm going to go through and share some of the life of Joseph Smith now, and what I'm going to share is actually an outline of a chapter on Mormonism from this book, Robot Jesus, by Kyle Beshears. You should look him up. It's Beshears. Really cool book that covers Mormonism, Jehovah's Witness, Scientology, and Islam, as well as Christianity. Pretty good book there. Anyways, Joseph Smith, born 1805 in Vermont. He moved to New York. He was a farmer. He was known to have an active imagination, known for his tall tales. And he also questioned which Christian denomination is right. In James 1:5, which says that if any of you has questions or lacks wisdom, you should go to God in prayer, and He will give generously all that you need. And so this verse led him to seek God in prayer to answer this question of which Christian denomination is right. And alone in the woods in prayer, age 15, his answer came through personages. So from Joseph Smith's own words concerning this account, recorded in the Pearl of Great Price, writings of Joseph Smith, chapter 2, verses 14 and 15, to start with here, we got Joseph Smith saying, I kneeled down and began to offer up the desires of my heart to God. I had scarcely done so when immediately I was seized upon by some power which entirely overcame me and had such an astonishing influence over me as to bind my tongue so I could not speak. Thick darkness gathered around me, and it seemed to me for a time as if I were doomed to sudden destruction. Does this sound familiar at all to you? What's usually associated with darkness, and what is also a common characteristic of demon possession? If you look in all four of these verses, it's people that were unable to speak because of demonic influence. Pretty interesting, I think. I don't know if that would be an indication as to what Smith was experiencing at this moment. He goes on to say, just at this moment of great alarm, I saw a pillar of light exactly over my head, above the brightness of the sun, which descended gradually until it fell upon me. It no sooner appeared than I found myself delivered from the enemy which held me bound. When the light rested upon me, I saw two personages, whose brightness and glory defy all description, standing above me in the air. One of them spoke unto me, calling me by name, and said, pointing to the other, This is my beloved Son. Hear him. So this is an image of what's going on, what he's seeing and experiencing. I believe it's actually an image that's found in this Book of Mormon. I could be wrong. No, this one doesn't have it. But you see most Book of Mormons, they have some nice nifty pictures to illustrate the book here, and I believe this is one of those that is sometimes used by Mormons. Latter-day Saints say that he saw Jesus and Heavenly Father. Why couldn't Smith have said Jesus? That's a question I have. Why did he say personages, and why is their identity not clear? Compare Smith's encounter with Paul's encounter of Jesus in Acts 9. I asked the personages, which of all the sects was right, for at this time it had never entered my heart that all were wrong, and which I should join. I was answered that I must join none of them, for they were all wrong, and the personage who addressed me said that all their creeds were an abomination in his sight. All right, so later after this experience, he had a second vision, 1823. It was the angel Moroni during his sleep. And this angel told him that there were golden plates buried in the woods behind his house that were essentially the Book of Mormon, all right? And that they contained the lost gospel, which had been lost a while ago. It was a message which Jesus had given to early inhabitants of America. And so, yes, Jesus himself went to America and preached. Pretty interesting stuff, if you ask me. And along with these golden plates that were the complete gospel, he would also find 2 seer stones. All right, and the idea is that these seer stones would help him translate the language that was on this golden plate, which was Reformed Egyptian. All right, which isn't an existent language at all. Reformed Egyptian. Compare, this idea of a different gospel that he's supposed to be receiving to what Paul says in Galatians 1:8. I encourage you to look up Galatians 1:8 as I read it, just to confirm this is in the Bible. Galatians 1:8. But even if we or an angel from heaven should preach a gospel other than one we preach to you, let him be eternally condemned. As we have already said, so now I say again, if anybody is preaching you a gospel other than what you accepted, let him be eternally condemned. So, another testament of Jesus Christ, a lost gospel. This doesn't matter who it comes from. If it comes from the Apostle Paul, if it comes from an angel, if it comes from me, if it comes from Joseph Smith, eternally condemned. All right, that's what we should be saying. So here's an image of the golden plates, what they likely looked like. And to translate this, what Joseph Smith did, he found his buddy, Martin Harris, that you see down there. And he would put the plates in a hat and put the 2 seer stones in there and then put his head into the hat to cover it up with his hands on the sides to block out the light, so it was pitch dark in the hat. And when this would happen, the text would be translated right in front of him in like a glowing light, and he would read what he saw in his hat, and Martin Harris would be down there and transcribe everything that Joseph Smith said. So this is actually a transcription. It's how he likes to look at it, not a translation, but a transcription, because he was essentially divinely receiving word for word from this process what was on these. All right, so this isn't translation, this is transcription. Oh, and the whole separation thing here, that's how it actually happened. This picture has him on a set of stairs, but I've also heard maybe it was more like a curtain, that he was behind the curtain, kind of like Wizard of Oz status, right, behind the curtain with Martin Harris on the other side. So there was separation. Martin Harris didn't actually see Joseph Smith as he was going through this process. Harris, of course, pretty ecstatic, needed to use money and stuff to help with the whole production and the publishing of it. His wife was very, very skeptic, rightfully so, I believe, and what she did was, okay, well, take everything that you've transcribed, give them to me. And if this Joseph Smith truly is a prophet, then he'll receive this message again, word for word, as it is here on these pages, and it will prove if he's a prophet or not. And Joseph Smith pulled a little quick one on this one and found a loophole, or either that God just gave him a loophole if you're actually a Mormon and believe this to be true. Joseph Smith was told by God, I can do this whole process with you again, but you won't get it the exact same because of your disobedience. Because of Martin Harris and Lucy Harris's disobedience, you won't get this word for word. Some truths will be removed, ones which are not necessary to fully understand or to get the main message. So that was the workaround, all right, to get around not being able to make exact duplicates of these original papers that that Martin gave to his wife Lucy. And these two sadly ended up getting a divorce over the Book of Mormon and the money that Harris was putting towards it to publish it. To verify, of course, that this is legitimate, you may ask, well, where are the gold plates? They, they vanished basically when they were done, right? They were taken away from Joseph Smith because he no longer needed them once it was translated or transcribed. And so what we do have, though, is testimony. You got the testimony of the 3 witnesses, testimony of 8 witnesses. This is the page at the start of the Book of Mormon. You can see the names Oliver Cowdery, David Whitmer, Martin Harris, the 3 witnesses here and what they have to say, and then the testimony of 8 witnesses. And what you notice, everyone's from the Whitmer family or the Smith family, basically. And then you got Cowdery, Page, and Harris, all right? And we do know that at least one of these guys left the Church of Mormon, right, and ended up joining a Methodist church in Ohio. Pretty good stuff on that one, right? So I guess maybe his testimony isn't valid anymore. And then Martin Harris later went on record to say that he did not see these plates with his naked eye, but he saw them with his spiritual eyes. So did you actually see them or did you not? You didn't actually physically see them. Got it. You saw it with your spiritual eyes. So testimonies, it's pretty weak, if you ask me, considering the majority of all these are either from the Smith family or the Whitmer family, and that all these witnesses are actually within the inner circle of the Church of Latter-day Saints. At least that's my questioning of the validity of these testimonies here. Next video, we'll continue then on what the Church of Latter-day Saints does now that they have this Book of Mormon. Where does Smith go with this? And what happens as the church begins to spread and grow.